So we loaded the film yesterday, but today we're going to process it. And the reason we waited is because, as you can see, we're out here in this incredible natural environment, but we're not hooked up anywhere. I mean, just over there, there's a couple deer eating grass, and there's some other campers over here. But the bottom line is we don't have any electricity. So we wanted to, it was 25 degrees last night, and we were using the furnace and the fan. We wanted to make sure this morning we had enough electricity to use the water pump and lights so that we could process the film. Turns out we have enough battery left, so we're going to head on into the RV, and now we're going to process the film we loaded yesterday. All right, so I've got a bunch of stuff here that we can use to process. What I'm going to do is use an old juice bottle to mix my developer. I don't want to put water in the can and then add the developer. That's going to have concentrated chemical in your film before it mixes up. So always mix chemicals first. Air bubbles will naturally adhere to the film surface when it first gets wet. So one of the most important things to do, especially if you're in a dry climate, which Arizona is, which is where we are right now, is to pre-soak your film. The first thing I'm going to do is put water in the can to pre-soak my film. And I'm going to add a little hot water and a little cold water. Some guys from the Bureau of Indian Affairs have showed up to do a little clear cutting in the campground, get rid of some fire danger for the future. So you might hear a chainsaw in the background. It's a little noisy, but we sure appreciate their effort. Well, this stuff needs to be mixed 1-to-1. That means I need to have equal amounts of both, and I need to go in here. So, let's see, 25 milliliters per 500 milliliters, so I need 75 milliliters, and 75 milliliters is 1/3 of a cup, roughly. So I'm going to use a 1/3 of a cup measure and mix my developer. This developer only lasts for 2 hours once it's mixed. I have agitated my water. I'm going to pour it out, pour the developer in. There's an anti-halation dye in larger film that causes the light to not refract off the film inside the camera, creating reflection and refraction. So they get this purplish dye on 2 1/4 and sheet film. It's nothing to think about. All right, put the developer in. Here it's agitated. Put it in the shade. And so instead of doing a 13-minute development time, I'm going to do a 20 to 25-minute development time, and I'm going to agitate maybe twice or 3 times during the entire time and no more. Okay, so the TF4 archival acid-free fixer has a lot of sediment in the bottom, so you got to make sure you shake it up really good. It mixes, this liter here makes a gallon, and with this I can process as much film as I have developer for, probably more. I'll go ahead and mix water in this first and pour it in to make sure I've got all the sediment that's part of the chemical in the big bottle. Okay, we're about 20 minutes right now, so I'm going to go ahead and dump this, and then I'm going to rinse it a couple times with water. You don't need to use stop bath when you use acid-free fixer. In fact, you shouldn't. So I'm going to dump this out. By getting rid of all the chemical residue that's on the surface of the film, or drips that are left or whatever, you also help the fixer be more effective. Give it some agitation. As soon as the color and the fog on the film are all gone, you're done fixing. So after a few more minutes of fixing, it'll definitely be light safe. And I can take the lid off the Paterson tank and use the lid as a funnel to save the fixer back into the same bottle. All right, 5 minutes of rinse time is enough. Does not have to be continuous. You can fill it up, agitate it, dump it, and do that repeatedly. Okay, before I hang the film, I'm going to use Formaflow, which is a wetting agent to make sure no dust and water drops stick on the film as it dries. It doesn't take much, a few drops in here. And you do not rinse this after you use the wetting agent. And that's done. Time to hang the film. On the film you have the remainder of the tape from where you ripped it off the backing paper. Just make sure you hang it with the tape at the bottom so no particles come off the tape and run down the film and dry on it. And then I'm going to go ahead and clip the bottom with another clothespin. And that's film processing in an RV.